Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your set. I am Hitman Cos. Welcome to another free format video where among the video game world, if you haven't heard the news, Volition has bought the farm. Yep, they're closing their doors. And if I'm keeping it a stack, I'm not surprised. And also, I have no sympathy. Well, at least not for them closing their doors. But if people lost their jobs, I mean, hey, shit happens. But considering the road that they went down, honestly, what did they expect was gonna happen? And for those of you that don't know, Volition are the cats that made the Saints Row series. And what's really fun to me is that this all could have been prevented. Because for one thing, the Saints Row series, started off good, but then was starting to slip a bit. But then once this new Saints Row came out last year, it just completely plummeted. Because I'd say once Saints Row 4 came out, fans were clamoring for another Saints Row, but for it to be something of the original Saints Row and Saints Row 2. To keep it a stack, they wanted a gangster again. They wanted it to be gangster. Because obviously, there's a lot of people who didn't like Saints Row the 3rd and 4, or even if they did, they still missed the gangster style of Saints Row 2 and Saints Row. And yeah, I'll admit I am among them, but I will admit at the same time, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't enjoy Saints Row the 3rd, because I really did. Personally, I thought it was a good idea, adding some of that silliness to help, stand out. Because, even though the gangster stuff was wonderful, unfortunately, people kept bitching, saying that it was a GTA ripoff. So this was, what they needed to do in order to, separate themselves away from that. But in any case, with the good they did in Saints Row the 3rd, they went overboard and did too much with Saints Row 4. Giving your character superpowers, doing a full-on alien invasion, your character being the president of the United States, at that point they had gone way too far. And then we're brought up to speed with last year's game, which was, if I'm being honest, was a steaming pile of dog shit. Because I will say this, when it comes to games and they're looking for a fresh start or trying to begin anew, there's nothing wrong with that, because you can still churn out a banger. But this was not it. This is starting off new, gone all the way wrong. Like anything, they literally did everything wrong. Because anything they could have possibly done to make this game good, they didn't do. and the best place to start is with the characters, because in my opinion the characters are the worst part. Because first off, the boss, your guy or girl, I don't honestly is a bit of a punk. Cause I mean, freaking, just comparing him, comparing the boss from where he was in the other Saints Row to how he acts in the original. I mean, in this Saints Row, it's embarrassing, and honestly, it's also insulting. Because, you know, you go from being a mute henchman, pretty much, in Saints Row, to being a psychosociopathic boss in Saints Row 2, to being a bit more level-headed but now badass boss in Saints Row the Third, to just a straight-up leader, but, you know, with at least a spine in Saints Row 4, to whatever this nigga is. And if there's one word I can describe literally all the characters with, is bad dialogue. Like, whoever wrote the script for this, like, seriously, don't ever write a script for any game ever again. Not even for one character. Ever again. Because everything they say in this game is so cringe. And if it's not cringe, it's just straight up bad. Like the whole concept, at least what fans wanted when it came to Saints Row, they wanted it to be gangsta again. Like I said, they wanted it to be gangsta. This was literally the furthest from gangsta. And when the trailer came out for Saints Row, and you know, it was poorly received, you'd think that they'd take the general consensus of what the fans are saying, take it into account, and fix the problems in the trailer and apply it to the regular game, or at least see where they went wrong and fix it before the final product comes out. But no, instead of doing that, they instead double down, which you know, 9 times out of 10 is a bad thing. And 2, they make fun of the fans who had negative opinions of it, which is even worse. Because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that the most basic of basic things to do to keep a successful business venture, or just a successful business going, is to listen to your fans, listen to the critics. And they didn't do that. And because they didn't do that, this is the consequence / result. And again, they got nobody to blame but themselves. And you know, another thing that I, because you know, I'm really getting off. I think I'm getting off topic because I was talking about about the characters. Another thing that I don't like about the boss is what he does for a living prior to starting the Saints, which is, if I'm being honest, I feel that he's a corporate sellout, doing freaking like some high scale security, like like those armored trucks that you can rob in GTA 5 that get you a lot of money. And then on top of that, the main characters, you and the crew, are sharing a small ass apartment, and you trying to pay off student loans and shit. Someone please tell me what any of that can like what kind of correlation that has to anything regarding Saints Row, old or new. And since I'm going further on it, let's talk about the other characters. First, let's talk about Kevin. First off, I know I'm saying this multiple times. I've already said it a million times, but a million and one ain't gonna kill you. This dude, honestly, this dude is embarrassing. He's actually, no, he's more embarrassing than the boss is. For one, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for making your character shirtless, but that might as well be his whole identity, besides trying to cook. And this nigga be saying the corniest lines I've ever fucking heard. Like, so many times I've wanted to slap him and the other characters in the face and just tell him, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, you say the stupidest shit. It's so annoying. And honestly, the fact that they all come from different gangs, in my opinion, that part didn't make sense. But it's whatever. Then you got Nina, who in my opinion is honestly, she's the most redeemable out of all the characters. Because at least ironically, despite being a woman, she actually has a pair. Whereas the other two are a bunch of straight bitches. She you know, ain't got no problem pulling the trigger. But if I'm keeping it a stack, the only thing I see her as is Volition's sorry ass attempt at or replacement for Viola, Shawnee, and Kinsey, and trying to roll it up into one and failing miserably. Then we come to the friggin' worst. This motherfucker Eli. Eli is the absolute worst. Because number one, he's a bitch, and there ain't no sugarcoating it. Ain't no way to work around it. He's a bitch. His lines are garbage. He won't fire a gun. And don't give me the whole he's the strategist of this shit, because that's a poor ass excuse. Even niggas that were planning stuff in each mission weren't afraid of to do some action. Whereas he's afraid to fight. He can't hold up a gun without it shaking in his hand like a fucking stripper in Magic City. And the stuff that he's into just makes it even worse. And I'm not about to get after people's interests, because if y'all are into, that kind of stuff that he's into, do you. I ain't got a problem. But in a game in a crime-based game, you got a character who isn't willing to commit crimes, is afraid to shoot a gun and all that. Like how? Where do you get the inspiration or the idea that this works? And the worst part is him wanting to do LARP, live action role play. And again, if y'all into that, that's good. But not in a crime-based game. That does not work. And for anybody that tries to compare this to Professor Genki, you're a fucking idiot. Because even in Professor Genki, you were firing a real fucking gun. This ain't nothing like it. And how much of a bitch this guy is makes you forget slapping him in the face. I just want to beat the shit out of him. And then once I'm done beating the shit out of him, just blast on him. Because even Matt Miller, I think his name was, from Saints Row the Third, was even had more of a set than he does. And if I'm being honest, Saints Row last year felt nothing more than a very shitty teenage sitcom. No, a very shitty modern teenage sitcom. That's the literal definition of what it was. And I just don't understand what made them think that this was such a good product, a good enough product to put out. Like honestly, this game was so bad. Well, first off, I didn't play it. But I watched a playthrough of it. And shout out to It's Already 5, because I can say without exaggerating that his commentary, his jokes, and overall him just being funny and making fun of the whole game, making fun of the developers, making fun of everything, was the only thing that made the playthrough watchable. Because it sucked. The gameplay sucked. The story was garbage. The dialogue was cringe. And the whole thing had me rolling my eyes damn near every 6 seconds. Like, literally, It's Already 5 saved it. Because literally he was the only reason why I was even watching gameplay of it, period. Because had it been anybody else doing gameplay of it, I wouldn't be watching it. It had been somebody, doing the gameplay of it without talking, I ain't watching it. Cause it's just that bad. And honestly, if anybody ever tries to make an attempt at trying to make another Saints Row, take notes from this and learn how not to start off fresh. Because the funny thing is that Volition period has actually tried to start off fresh different times, and it blew up in their face. But the last time they did it, it wasn't as bad. Because the last time they, in my opinion, tried to start fresh was when in Saints Row the Third, Johnny Gat died. And sure, yes, it was lacking. The game was lacking Johnny's wit and just his overall great presence. But at the same time, like I said, the game still was very enjoyable. I enjoyed playing it. I had a blast. But at the same time, just because I enjoyed it doesn't mean I ain't missed a guy. And by the amount of backlash, they realized they fucked up, which is why they brought him back in Saints Row 4. And back to what I'm saying about starting fresh, it can work. It can work, but if I'm being honest, there's only so many times I honestly can't think of a time where a game started off fresh and it worked. There's another time where it started off fresh and blew up in their face was Soul Calibur 5, where pretty much every iconic character was replaced with a placeholder, a roster player, if you will, and people hated it. So, Volition, I got no sympathy that y'all closed your doors. Yeah, you put out a shit product. It could have been prevented, but instead you doubled down and made fun of your fans, and now you got to suffer the consequences. And as for the people who worked for Volition, it sucks that you're out of work, but just like the company period, take this as a learning experience for if you get into the gaming industry in the future and know what not to do. And with that being said, that's going to do it for this video. I definitely want to thank each and every one of y'all for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and chill with your boy. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead, hit the like button. Comment if you feel like it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. And until next time, by the way, of Struggle Venture Productions, I am the Hitman Kaz, and I'll see y'all later. Peace. And follow the buzzards.